had somebody that made a comment under a recent video. The title of it is Growing as Dawn, Be Who You Are So I Can See You. I realized that previous Dawn would get a bit annoyed and upset if I felt like someone didn't show up the way I expected them to show up, or would I put the pressures on them to show up, rather than just making room for them to show up as they are and then deciding as to whether or not I would like to sign up for it. It becomes more clear that way. I think it becomes more peaceful that way. Because rather than trying to change who you are, why don't I give yourself permission to be who you are so I can see who you are? You feel me? So I had somebody make a comment. I guess as I was explaining my process of understanding of how I want to make room for Dawn and make room for other people to show up as they are. Her name is Elizabeth 𝘲𝘪𝘵. Now I say 𝘲𝘪𝘵 because it's like 3 Y's in her name. But I'm just saying Elizabeth. She made a comment. She says, I want to hear your story and how you got to this sense of healing, your journey, and what made such a profound change. And I think when I first got it, I was flattered. I was like, wow, I've arrived. I got to this point where somebody is seeing me and they're like, yes, Dawn, yes. And I know, as I've been saying on previous episodes, I'm like, I'm working on this level of vulnerability. I want to show up. I want to make room. I also want to make it so that I can relate to you. So when I'm telling you about a product, if I'm telling you about an idea, you know me. You know what I like. You know what I get into. So if I'm telling you what's popping, you know that it's popping. So as I'm evaluating, I'm thinking like, wow, I got to this moment, this sense of this state of somebody saying, wow, you're there. And I had to humble myself a bit. I had to humble myself because I am reminded of the ING in life, the whole ing. And realizing when we think about arriving to a sense or a place or a destination, to me that says it's over, it's done. But in life, you're living. Do you understand? It's not like you just live or lived. If you still have breath in your body, you're living. You only lived past tense once you're no longer here. So I guess with this process and what's spun about the fact that I'm talking about, derailing and just engulfing in anything is that whether it's me working out, whether it's me changing my fitness, whether you're dating in a relationship, you don't just do something and stop. So when people say, or when somebody can say, how did you get to sense there? Or how did you arrive to that point? Well, I like to change the narrative and say that I'm constantly arriving. And I guess what's helped me is that I've been making space for Dawn, making room for Dawn. And if I'm making room for Dawn, I know how to teach and treat myself. Now I can teach and treat somebody else the right way, right? Because now we're operating in a space of movement, of ability to move. And I realize of how I'm at this space of healing is that grace is so important. A friend recently said to me that grace is giving space. Catch it. Grace is giving space to move, to breathe, to exist. And I'm just wondering, how often do we give our own selves space? Even, for example, if you look at a plant that's in a pot, after so long, there comes to a point that the plant needs to be repotted to get into a different space, for more space, because the roots have now extended. The roots have grown. The roots are needing to expand, the same and such as life. That's why I think it's so important not to move around and be so arrogant about stuff. Feel like you know it all, that you've been there, done that, you sent it on the way back, because each day, each moment is a process of learning, is a process of healing. And that's why I think it's so important that whatever you engage into, whether it be a job and whether it be a relationship, let it be something that you enjoy so that you can be in the doing of it, not looking at a point of saying when it's done and it's a check mark and now that I'm over it. I realize with myself, I'm not over me. So when you say, hey, Dawn, how did you get to this sense of healing? It's because I'm allowing myself space. And with this space, I'm allowing myself grace.
Get your vitamin D right. excited.